Predict the Prem 139 to Sim, 148 to B. 5 points for a completely correct scoreline. 1 point for a correct result. Starman, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. And let's get into the weekend's action. Arsenal against Everton. Sim's gone for 3-0. I've gone for 2-0. Look, Everton been all right in recent games. Arsenal, a bit up and down. I felt like they probably deserved more out of the Fulham game than they got. They drew 1-1. And at home against an Everton side who are going to set up to frustrate, I feel Arsenal will have a lot more quality than Everton, so I've gone for 2-0.
Yeah, I feel like Arsenal won't mind if Everton sit back because they just can rely on that set piece weapon they got, and they still got the quality there with Odegaard and Saka. I think Everton are going to struggle to contain this Arsenal team, and I think going forward, Everton just lack any real threat right now. Calvert-Lewin better. I don't see them troubling Arsenal, even when Arsenal have a few injuries at the back. Still see a clean sheet, and I still see a resounding win, so 3-0.
Liverpool-Fulham. Difficult game, this one, for Liverpool and obviously for Fulham. 2-1, we've both gone for. Liverpool actually nicely rested coming into this, seeing as their game against Everton was postponed. But look, I don't think that will take away from the difficulty for the game, because Fulham set up so well. They'll frustrate Liverpool, but Liverpool will have enough quality to get over the line.
Yeah, I think Marcus Silva is obviously such a smart manager. Fulham are a smart team, and I'm sure that the way Smith Rowe, Iwobi, Jimenez are playing at the moment, they're going to make things difficult for Liverpool for sure. And I'm sure they'll probably, Konate's out, so maybe Liverpool aren't at their best at the back, and I'm sure they'll create some chances. Adama Traore as well. Marcus Silva is a very clever manager. He always adjusts his team so that he can exploit Liverpool's weaknesses. I remember the game last year at Anfield, when Fulham played there. It finished 3-2, but Liverpool just hit 3 goals from outside the box just because of the quality they have. I think Trent and McAllister and Endo just hit 3 beauties, and they just end up winning 3-2. I feel like something similar might happen here. Like, Fulham play a brilliant tactical game, but just Liverpool just have that quality just to get over the line and sneak it. So I see a 2-1, but a very close game.
Moving on to Newcastle against Leicester. I've gone for 3-1 to Newcastle. Sim's gone for 2-2 here.
Yeah, I think Leicester riding a wave of the new manager bounce. I know they've 2 games they've probably got lucky in, beating West Ham 3-1 and getting a 2-2 draw against Brighton. But I see them going to St James's Park, and it's not going to be. Obviously, Newcastle need the win here, and they're going to go for it. But I see Leicester just catch them out on a couple of counters. Vardy's in great form at the moment, and I think they're just riding a wave, and I can feel them carrying on this wave here. And Rude's still got this 25-match unbeaten run, so I'm going to go for them to get a 2-2 draw at St James's.
Yeah, I think this run for Rude is coming to an end this game. It's a very difficult game, St James's Park. Newcastle not on the greatest form. They're winless in 4 games, 2 losses and 2 draws, and I think they get back to winning ways this weekend. I think Eddie Howe is just going to bang into them. They just have to win this game at home against a promoted side. They've got enough quality to do it, and yeah, I think Leicester will make it difficult for them at times, but I think Newcastle will end up winning the game, and I've gone for 3-1. Next up is a really interesting game, Wolves against Ipswich. Sim's gone for 1-0 to Ipswich. I've gone for 1-1. It does seem like the writing's on the wall for Gary O'Neill a little bit at the moment with the results he's getting. I mean,
looked in tears at the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, game. They're conceding too many goals at the moment. 2-1 against West Ham in a really important game last time out. Held 4 against Everton. Held 4 against Bournemouth at home. But I mean, it's madness because the game before that they went to Craven Cottage and won 4-1. I mean, you just can't write this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think Wolves are going to set up. I think both these teams are going to, probably think that they can go and win the game, and I think they'll probably just cancel each other out. Both of these teams just can't really buy a win at the moment.
Yeah, I think Wolves are just very reliant on Cunha at the moment. I guess Strand Larsen's getting goals, but I think Cunha's just the hub of it. He creates everything. Even when Strand Larsen's scoring, it's usually Cunha probably assisting. I just think they're in a way at the moment. They're very low on confidence. They're struggling for points. Ipswich are so unlucky last week against Bournemouth. 1-0 up, 2 last-minute goals, and they ended up losing. And I just feel like they're going to go to Molineux. They're going to play as they usually do, and they're just going to sneak a win here. And it could be Gary O'Neill's last game. So going for a 1-0 win to Ipswich.
Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa. We've gone for the same again in 2-2. Really hard game to call this because obviously Forest going really well at the moment. Aston Villa seem to have turned a little bit of a corner, getting some results. However, away from home, they are on a 3-match losing run. I feel like Forest will be a really hard nut to crack for Aston Villa, so I couldn't really split the side, so I've gone for 2-2.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's rumours Watkins might not be available as well this weekend. That could be a big hit, albeit John Duran's not done too badly when stepped in. I think Forest...
Watkins injured?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh, really?
So Forest at home, I think, in a derby game as well, isn't it? So they're going to be right up for it. They're in great form. I mean, Chris Wood is in massive goal-scoring form. I can see them exploiting Villa's high line. Are they going to be good enough to hold off Villa? I've gone for Villa just to get a couple of moments as well. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Brighton against Crystal Palace in another derby, the strangest derby in the Premier League, probably this one. Sim's gone for 1-1. I've gone for 2-1 to Brighton.
Yeah, these home games, they've struggled a bit against maybe some of the lower sides a bit, Brighton. They drew with Ipswich, they drew with Southampton. Wolves as well, and I'm backing them to get another draw here. Palace have really turned a corner a bit in terms of they're still down the bottom, but they're 4 points to the relegation zone, even though they're in 17th, 4 games unbeaten, and the performances are starting to get better, and their results are starting to improve. And I think since Eze's come back in, a big improvement. I think though that those 3 centre-backs, Chalobah, Lacroix, Guehi, are really tough to break down. I think that wing-back system as well is going to be difficult for Brighton to deal with. I think they're well set up to combat what Brighton give them on the counter. Brighton obviously love to keep possession. They like to hound the opposition, and I see them getting a moment of quality. But I see them being frustrated here, so I'm going for a 1-1.
Yeah, I think Brighton and the home fans will be bang up for this because these sets of fans just hate each other, and I think it'll be a bit of a raucous atmosphere at the Amex, and I feel that will give Brighton a bit of something extra. Palace are a bit of draw specialists at the moment. I think 4 draws or something in the last 5 or 6. So I think it'll be 2 teams that will be very hard-working and bang at it, but I think Brighton, with just the extra bit of quality, will just about get over the line in this derby, so I've gone for 2-1 to Brighton. Manchester derby. This one is a very interesting one at the City of Manchester, at the Etihad. Sim's gone for 1-1. I've gone for 2-2. I think both of these teams are going to go for it. Obviously, Amorim plays his 3 at the back system. Man City, even though whatever you want to say about their form, they have only dropped points or in one of the home games, which was to us in recent times. So I'm looking at the way Man City play, and I'm looking at the way Man United play, and I feel like there is something in here for Man United. And as much as Man U probably haven't been getting the results, I do think their performances might deserve a bit more out. I look at that game against Forest, as much as they lost the game, I thought they did deserve a bit more out of it. So Man U will go up there with probably more optimism that they've been up to the Etihad in a long time, and Man City probably going into it thinking, oh God, what's going to happen here, because they're just in a massive rut at the moment. So I've gone for 2-2.
Yeah, City just, again, similar to Tottenham, just physically really struggling at the moment, and I see them really struggling to contain Man United with their wing-back system. Amad Diallo out wide, and maybe Rashford in behind, who's very good in these games against Man City a lot of the time. So I do think United can frustrate Man City. Are they good enough to go there and get a clean sheet? I probably don't think so, but I see maybe a bit of a tired Man City scraping a draw here at home to Man United.
Chelsea, Brentford. Sim's gone for 3-1. Well, we've both gone for 3-1 here, and Brentford do not travel well, and I don't expect it to change here. Chelsea, free scoring Chelsea at the moment. They're scoring so many goals. I think 4 against Tottenham, 3 against Aston Villa. So they're just literally just swatting teams away in terms of how freely they're scoring. And Brentford, whatever you want to say for them, they're really open at the back, and they're conceding a lot of goals this season. So if this was at Brentford, I might have gone for a closer game, but because it's at Stamford Bridge, I think it will be one-way traffic, more or less.
Yeah, and as you say, their away form's opposite to their home form. Transitionally, they're quite open sometimes, and I see Chelsea really exploiting that, especially with the front line players they got at the moment, in the form they're in. So Chelsea at home to Brentford, gone for a 3-1 win.
Southampton against Tottenham. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Tottenham.
Yeah, bad news is Tottenham are not playing very well at the moment, and we're really struggling for a good level of performance. Good news is you don't have to play well to beat Southampton with the goals they give you. So I'm going for an unconvincing 2-1 win to Spurs, with Southampton gifting Tottenham a couple of goals. Yeah,
unfortunately, I can't see a win in this game. I can't see a win in any game at the moment. But yeah, you're right. Southampton do gift you chances and do gift you goals. So let's hope that does happen. But I've gone for 1-1 just because Spurs just look completely out on their feet at the moment. They look like they've run out of gas, and Southampton will be a week rested in this game with no European football. So, and Spurs played quite a strong team in Europe on Thursday night. So, more tired legs for Spurs this weekend, and I think Southampton will reap the benefits and take a good point from Spurs at St Mary's. And it's also a ground that Spurs haven't done well in recent years. So I've gone for 1-1. And last but not least, Bournemouth against West Ham. I've gone for 2-1 to Bournemouth. At the Vitality, they're always really strong, and I feel that they'll beat this West Ham side, who did get the win last time out against Wolves, but it wasn't that convincing. And I feel like Lopetegui is probably in his last couple of games as manager at West Ham, and I think Bournemouth will heap some more misery onto them.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1. I think West Ham will set up to frustrate. We know Bournemouth like to press high, be very aggressive, and I think if West Ham just clog up that space and they just make sure that they're not giving away easy chances, they could frustrate this Bournemouth team, who we know Evan Nilsson and Semenyo, they like to press from the front. They're so aggressive. But West Ham, I think away from home, the last time they played away from home was Newcastle, and they got a really good result. I just see them frustrating Bournemouth here, so I went for a 1-1 draw.
And let's look at the star men. Sim has gone for Enzo Fernandez.
Great form. He's in great form. He's getting goal contributions every week. I think at home to Brentford, I think this could be another game where he gets involved in the forward play. I was like, will I go for Palmer? But I don't know if I wanted to play my Palmer card yet. And then apart from Palmer, I was like, do I want to risk?
This probably would have been a great game to use your Palmer card, actually.
Yeah, but I just didn't want to risk a Maresca roulette with any of the wingers. I was thinking, should I go Palmer? I went, you know what, Enzo's in great form. This could be just a good time to cash in on that one. So I went for Enzo.
Yeah, I've gone for Chris Wood at home to Aston Villa. We both predicted 2-2, so we both predict goals in the offing. And what better player than Chris Wood for Nottingham Forest? 10 goals already this season, and I feel he could get more. He's obviously on penalty duty as well. So I'm backing Chris Wood to get some goal contributions this weekend at home to Aston Villa in a Midlands derby. So Sim's gone for Enzo. I've gone for Chris Wood. Let me know, who do you think is going to come out on top on Predict the Prem this week? But that is that for Predict the Prem. So what do you reckon? You're gonna make some points up?
Of course, definitely. A lot lost my way last week, but back on track this week.